Jimmy Neutron.
The boy genius. Our main man.
He
What
went
we're
to
all
the
here for.
stars to buy candy bars.
One of these days, we'll all become part of the big Jimmy Neutron in the sky.
He's
hope
a
so.
kid with a knack for invention.
We all wish we could be.
If our religion is wrong, I sure do hope the Jimmy Neutron one is right.
Wait, there's a Jimmy Neutron religion?
I don't know. I have no idea. Probably. Honestly, there's real life Jedi out there, so
Yep.
who knows?
And you know,
I think if it's a fictional world, people believe it.
You guys, we should for a podcast episode, go join the Jedi religion for like a week, see what it's like.
Just see what's up.
Yeah.
A trial sesh. I like
Trial
it.
sesh, yeah.
Are those our official knight trials? Do we become knights at that point?
We better.
Because that sounds
Listen.
kind of sick. To be able to put on my business card, that sounds
If
pretty cool.
we could become masters at some point, I would actually stay in the religion.
It's just like a secret club that you're just part of. It's not even a religion. You're just like, yeah, I'm a Jedi master.
Jedi
Just kinda
master,
flex,
no big
just
deal.
to flex on everybody. I like it.
Somebody's got to be the Grand Master. I mean, I'll
Grand
take that.
Wizard?
I'll take that responsibility. That way, nobody has to worry about anything.
You know, Elijah, you're such a great guy for taking that. You know,
So
like
humble,
you really
you know.
you're taking one for the team. Heavy is the
For
head
sure.
that wears the crown.
Exactly.
That's just what a guy.
I
You
just
are
don't
the
want anyone to
Jon
be stressed
Snow.
out. Yeah,
You are the Jon Snow of those people. It's beautiful.
that's what I'm saying.
It's beautiful.
That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. Thank you.
I can't
Yep.
believe you're a grand wizard.
Nope. Nope. Not that. Nope.
Don't Google that.
All wings report in. HouseDog, standing by.
MotherGoose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there. I had to do that very... I hope my mic peaked, Elijah, so you have to fix it.
Scared
And
me a little
welcome
bit,
back
not
to
gonna
the
lie.
Animal Squadron podcast. I'm just kidding.
Thank
No, you got
Tukey.
it. Go ahead.
I'm just
got
joking.
it.
No, you finish it
No.
up, dude. I'm just
Go ahead.
Tukey's intro.
No, go
Let's
ahead.
go.
I'm just joking. See,
No,
now I feel
go
like
ahead.
I've hurt your feelings. Now I feel like I've hurt your feelings, and I feel bad.
This is the show now. It's canon.
I made fun of you for a second earlier, and now I regret it. You're making me
Yeah,
regret
you're the
it.
reason why I can't do the intro. Because you made fun of me like 5 minutes ago. You just came from my throat for no reason. I didn't do anything.
I'm
was
sorry. I'm
Elijah
sorry.
and
But
Tucker
also-
here. Welcome to the show,
Hello.
everyone. We're talking about Bad Batch still. I'm so happy.
Episode 12. Let's go. We're almost through.
Let's get it.
Only 3
And also, you
more
did a
after
phenomenal
this,
job, by
boys.
the way, Mac. That was a solid intro.
It's too late now.
It's too late.
It's too late now.
Have
He's
I
gonna
hurt your
cry.
last feeling? Like your final one? That's
He's
it?
gonna cry in the shower later.
I'd be surprised.
This episode was
I
called
do it every
Juggernaut.
night.
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut.
By the way, if anyone's curious, general thoughts, boys? Like it? Hate it?
It is a new episode. I don't know. Was this episode really important? I mean, yes, I say that every week. But it was like halfway filler. And like, there was no major character revelations in this. It was just a stepping stone for the end of the season. I was surprised that we got this episode this late. Because how many episodes are there? 15?
Yeah.
14.
This was episode 12. And I was like, okay, there's only 3 episodes left in this season. I was surprised that they made this an entire episode. I feel like this whole episode could have been an intro.
Maybe. I mean, this and the next episode potentially could have been, like, merged into one, but I feel like it would have been really rushed.
Maybe.
What did you think, Tukey?
Well, I like this episode for what it is. I mean, knowing that there's not much left in this season, whether it's 14 or 15 episodes, I just don't remember.
Yeah,
But whether it's 2 or 3 episodes left, I think this is a solid building episode. Like Max said, there is some filler. I mean, that's true. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was a good 20 minutes. And also, this episode, I think, is really important for one scene in particular. And that's when Omega is walking with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Hemlock, yes, through the vault.
Yeah.
Through the vault. And he tells her what the purpose of all these experiments are. And he tells her purpose.
Right.
And actually what she means to the experiment.
Which I'm super excited to get into.
Yeah. And so I'd say, like, for that reason, I'd say it's a very important episode. But at the same time, if you didn't watch it, other than this one plot point, you didn't really miss a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think this is an important episode in terms of, like Max said, it's a stepping stone. But I don't think being a stepping stone is a bad thing.
Everything needs to have them.
Right. It's all like getting to this conclusion. My favorite part of this episode probably was the action sequence at the end. I thought it was really good. So I would say in terms of this season's episodes, maybe like middle of the pack, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do we want to kind of talk through the episode, or we want to just get straight to the important stuff?
Well, I mean, the whole idea of this one is that they have to go get Rampart from a working camp.
Right.
And my whole deal is we've already seen this trope done in Star Wars. Like recent Star Wars. We did it in Mando.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, but there's rhyming and then there's copying.
I think this at least for me, I think it's okay.
I'm not saying it's not okay. I'm just saying we've seen this theme before, and I think it's late in the game of this show to just be like, okay, we have to go get an Imperial from a working camp to break into this base.
Yeah. I think
that's a really good point.
Yeah, I think this works for me, though, because we've seen Rampart before. We know who Rampart is.
I like Rampart. I like his character. He reminds me a lot of the guy from Rebels.
Callus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was Callus for like the longest time, and I was like, that doesn't really... Because when we first see Rampart, he's like clean cut and everything, and he's like pretty young.
Yeah. I get your point about having seen this before, but I'm glad that we're getting a conclusion to the Rampart storyline, and they just didn't leave it open on, he got, framed for the Emperor's misdeeds, or he was the Emperor's scapegoat, and then we never see him again,
What did he do to go to prison?
He was the one that led the attack on Camino where they blew everything up, and then
that's right.
Senator,
and then
Chuchi exposed them for it, and the Emperor was like, "You guys, they blew up Camino. What? Send him to prison."
I would never plan that. No.
Yeah,
that's right.
I didn't remember either. Just being completely fair, and I had to look it up as I was watching the episode. But then once I realized who it was, I was like, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense why they're going for Rampart and why he's in prison.
Was that the end of season 1?
End of season 1 is when they blow up Camino, and then it's somewhere, I think, like middle, maybe even end of season 2 where he gets framed. But yeah, I mean, really, it's just an action sequence. They go and they break him out. I really loved this truck escape as they, take one of these military transports, and it's got multiple rocket launchers on it, multiple different laser guns, and they're just like ramming through this facility. I thought this was shot or animated really well.
Me like Turbo Tank.
Turbo Tank.
Turbo Tank is cool.
Me like Turbo Tank. Yep.
Guys, if we upgrade our ship, we should get a Turbo Tank.
Then it's only ground based.
Bro, I have an idea. What if we get something large enough that we can fit the Turbo Tank inside?
Hell yeah. Okay, but
And then we could drop out.
for the
That'd
memes,
be pretty sweet.
imagine how funny it would be if our little dumpster had a magnet on the bottom and we just picked up the tank and just flew really slow.
We'll get there
Uriel
eventually.
Poof's head's still sticking out. Also, too, like if he gets in the tank, his head still sticks out. Like we build like a little room for him.
I think it's so funny thinking about like Yariel Poof being like, "Hey guys, can I go sit in the tank?" And we all just tell him no. He's got to stay in the trash can.
There's no room.
Hey man, you have a 2x2 room. You're fine.
He's just
Yep,
like all scrunched up, flying the trash can while we're chilling, relaxing in the tank.
Did y'all notice that at the beginning of this episode, whenever they're talking to Fee and stuff, they're like, "Fee, how did you get here?" And she's like, "I just used the secret cave where I always park my ship." And I'm like, dude, I am so tired of this freaking cave.
Yeah, and then also too, like what I loved is that Crosshair was like surprised. He's like, "We'll need access to that," and it's like, bro, you don't know what cave it is. Are you sure you don't know?
Right.
He was talking about her.
Oh, was he?
Maybe.
He's
trying to steal
coming
Tech's
on to her?
girl.
I mean, like she
Yeah,
said
bro.
though, she's like your shining personality. So I mean, I kind of doubt that they'd be meant for each other probably, but
Nah, man, Tech's dead and Crosshair is moving in.
Enemies
Yeah.
to lovers, girlies are going to eat this up. Hear me out.
maybe. Are you in enemies to lovers, girlies? Is that why you knew that
I'm not,
stuff so fast?
actually. I really don't like the enemies to lovers trope, personally.
But that's our
Yeah.
trope.
What kind of girly are you, Elijah?
I'm they're nice to each other and treat each other with respect kind of a girly.
That's sweet. I was just wondering. I was just asking the question just because I thought it was funny. The word girly is funny to me.
I just want them to be happy.
Yep. Elijah, no like mean man.
Elijah, no like mean man. And anytime I'm reading enemies to lovers, I'm like, girl, just stab him. He's awful. Kill him.
Elijah, no like mean man. Me like Turbo Tank.
Literally-
That's this podcast.
The whole time I was playing Helldivers 2, I was like, God, Senua, please just kill this man. Don't fall in love with him.
Don't do it. Eagle
Yeah.
1, you deserve better. You deserve better, Eagle 1.
Yeah. Helldivers.
Hello, Editor Elijah here. I meant to say Hellblades 2. I don't think it's fair that Hades 2, Hellblade 2, and Helldivers 2 all came out within a couple months of each other. Confuses my brain. Separate them a little bit. Anyway, they do a cool action sequence. Here's Elijah thought one of the Bad Batch was going to die moment, I don't know. When they're on the tank and they're trying to jump to Fee's ship, I really did think that Wrecker might die here. I was thinking, oh, he's going to hesitate because he's afraid of heights and not make the jump.
Because he does say move it closer, and they're like, dude, we don't have time. Like, jump.
Yeah. I was feeling a little tension in this moment.
It would have been interesting to kill Wrecker here.
Yeah.
Kill Wrecker and then bring Tech back.
Bring
You
Tech
know, one
back.
thing I do love about this back and forth here whenever Fee picks them up is whenever Wrecker throws Rampart's just lifeless body onto the
Yeah.
ship, and like he starts slipping, and like Crosshair just like grabs his shirt and just drags him back up. I thought that
Yep.
was silly. I thought that was funny.
Oh, another action sequence moment. There's a TK trooper. They land on the tank, and Hunter, he's like shimmying the car to like try and knock them off, and he knocks one guy off, and he barely catches his hand on one of the ladders, And then Hunter just rams the tank into a wall, and we actually see this man get squished. I was not expecting it. Yeah.
You hear the rock make contact with his head. You hear
Like, usually it cuts away to when people die, but they just full on crush this man on screen. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
He's fine. He's fine.
He's just sleeping. He's a sleepy little boy.
He's tired. It's like whenever they infiltrate the base, and there those two TKs just stand there, and they're like, all right, well, our rounds are about done. Hopefully the next place we go is going to be more interesting, and they just immediately get dropped.
Right. Oh, and one of them was Zeb's voice actor, too.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the like captain of this base or prison, whatever it is, was also Zeb's voice. Or voice actor.
How'd you know that?
I recognized it, I guess. I don't know.
you looked it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's him. I can look it up real quick though.
Yeah. Tell us whether your thoughts are true.
I will.
Your baseless accusations. You were just saying words.
While I look this up, should we start talking about the very end?
Why? Like I said, like there's not. This episode's pretty cut and dry, like plot wise. Like there's not anything like great or amazing that really happens besides, like Tuck said, the Hemlock stuff. They decide that they need to figure out a way to break into Tantus or whatever, or figure out where Tantus even is, because yes, we are 12 episodes into this season, and we still don't know where Tantus is.
But it's like Rampart says, no one knows. Like, they don't give out the coordinates exactly.
Right.
Which I actually really like, that there are all these steps they have to follow to get to Tantus because it's so difficult. It's not just somewhere they can just be, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also I do kind of feel the same way Mac does a little bit, where I think it would have been kind of cool for this season to do like maybe the first, let's say, 8 episodes out of 14 or 15, however there is, do the Tantus arc, and then maybe start on something else. Like, you know, like maybe like how is life on Pabu, and like all, like, you know, like do like a nice epilogue, a nice like several episode epilogue. I think would have been cool.
Yeah.
Rather than just like nice. The 5 minutes we get.
Just to see them happy.
Mm-hmm. Or not. I mean, just what happens to them. I mean, I'd love to know.
Stormtrooper number 2 and Warden is played by Steve Bloom, who is, or Blum maybe, who is Zeb's voice actor. Eat my shorts.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
It kind of cut out, and it sounded a little bit like Eat My Short, and that was pretty funny.
I guess that too, but you know I never go that far.
Gladly.
And that's why I wouldn't go that far.
No, Elijah, please, no.
Don't lock me in your basement. Oh.
It's too late. It's too late. You're already in mine.
Actually, I gotta check on the poll for last week.
Oh yes, actually do
to
that.
See if I get let out of the basement.
I don't think you do.
Wow, 2 votes. 2 votes. 1 for yes, 1 for no. How are we breaking a tie?
I'm gonna vote right now.
Oh God.
Hang on.
I like, because I specifically remembered this because I felt like it would get brought up. So I checked it like yesterday or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there were still only 2 votes on it. And I was like, Tucker said he would vote. And he definitely didn't.
Yeah, I forgot. I forget all the time.
That, you know what? That's okay.
Check now, Elijah.
Man, all right. A random 3rd vote just came through. I wonder who that could be.
Weird.
We keep complete confidentiality with our people voting.
And they did vote for yes, which means I stay in the basement another week.
You're just lucky you're not in the hot box, because that's where you're going to go.
Yeah,
if
especially
people voted wrong.
With it about to be summer, I will take the basement, I guess.
Yep. Also, here where I live,
it is summer. What are you talking about?
We get these.
I don't know seasons.
It's June.
I mean, here where I live too, we get these lovely house centipedes as well.
How long are we talking?
That love my attic. They're like yay big. They're like they're pretty big, and they're fast. They're like roach fast.
back in New
I call Tucker
Mexico,
a house
we had
centipede.
like centipedes like this long, like maybe a foot and a half long.
Oh
For
my
our
gosh.
audience who can't see the size I'm making with my hands, they were awful. One of my my
Yeah.
first memory as a child is waking up in the middle of the night and there's like 3 1-foot centipedes behind my head.
That sounds like I'd be moving planets after seeing that.
Yeah. I
How did you not burn your house down?
We had to chop them up with knives.
That's so scary and very
What?
unwelcome. I'm so scared.
Yeah, centipedes, if you cut their head off, they keep moving. You gotta cut them in a couple places.
So I can't even scare you with these house centipedes.
Yeah, the house centipedes, I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Yeah, they're creepy little buggers, but they're not that bad.
We got big bugs in Texas, but I ain't never seen bugs as big as I've seen them in New Mexico.
Yep. No, I'm good. I'm very good. Actually, speaking of which, since we're off topic, the largest centipedes. Dude, have you ever seen those videos? I mean, not those videos, but those photos from soldiers in Vietnam in the 60s. And, like, there's that one dude who's, like, literally holding up a centipede that's, like, the length of his body.
Oh, God.
Like, it's freaking massive. And then, like, I talked to my father-in-law who was in Southeast Asia in, like, the 60s and 70s. And he backed it up. Like, he saw a few that were, like, about that big. Like, just big old centipedes.
Yeah, these are long boys.
Oh, did you look him up? Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Vietnam
I think
centipede? Yeah.
I think I found that exact photo you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
That's
a soldier, and the centipede's, like, kind of curled.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah. Yep.
Anyway,
No way.
sorry
No way.
to our listeners who are afraid of bugs.
Welcome back to Bug Squadron. I'm
Welcome
your
back
host,
to Bug
Centipede.
Squad. What's everyone's favorite bug?
You know
Today
what's
we're
funny?
talking
Actually,
about everyone's favorite bugs.
Actually,
which
now that
one
you
would
said
you not
that-
want to find in your bed?
I'm a praying mantis kind
Mac,
of a guy.
I just remembered that in middle school you played Centipede whenever we did James.
You're
and
a
the Giant
centipede,
Peach.
man.
You're a centipede. You actually are.
I was like young, man.
And you were a good one too.
Oh, thanks.
You did good.
That doesn't make up for hurting my feelings.
I'm sorry.
I'll never recover.
I'm so sorry. I think you probably will, but
Lucky
I
for
am
you.
sorry.
My feelings regenerate at twice the speed of a normal man.
Nice.
He'll be
That's
over
how this-
by the end
that's
of
how
the
this-
episode.
That's how this 20-year friendship has made it. Which
That's
actually
how
we're
it's
getting old.
ending. It's how it's ending.
Oh, because of your feeling regeneration.
Boys,
I like it.
Our friendships lasted this long. It's not ending. Sorry.
What do you mean hours, Elijah? You're the outlier here, not
Oh,
us.
see, he's hurt. Now he's got to hurt. Now he's got to hurt.
Matt can dish it out, but he can't take it.
Just kidding, Elijah. I like you better than Tucker.
Thank
Yep.
you.
See, point
Now
proven.
Kill.
Now
each other.
kill.
Fight for my
Max-
love.
He's woken up. He's vicious again.
Fight for my love, monkeys.
We didn't
Fight.
beat him
Quick.
down enough while he was sleepy.
Drug him. Drug him. It's the only way.
That really is the only time that I'm vulnerable, is whenever I'm really tired or I just woke up from sleeping. Those are the only 2 times you have. Other than that,
He's ready to
done.
go. Vicious.
Hell yeah. End of the episode, we get Hemlock and Omega's conversation. Tukey, you brought this up earlier. You want to lead us into it?
Oh, yes, pretty much. Just paraphrase a little bit. He tells her that actually her purpose is because they've been experimenting for a while, and every single time they try to replicate M count, it goes down. They've never been able to replicate someone's M count perfectly. And Omega actually is the perfect, like, her blood is the perfect host. Her blood is the only kind that they have found so far that can perfectly replicate M count, and so she's perfect for this project.
Right.
And she's very important to the project, is basically what he tells her.
Yeah. Which So earlier, a couple episodes ago, I think during the Ventress episode, I specifically brought up that something happens later in the series that makes me think Omega might not be Force sensitive, and this is it. She could still be Force sensitive, or maybe not. Maybe it's just her blood is the right. She's got the right DNA for it to transfer over. What are you guys thinking?
The whole like blood thing with Omega and everything, it's gotten me real confused about everything, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, why is her blood a good binding agent? Does this mean like what can happen with all this? And we don't really know still. Even with the show ended, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, we can get to that when we get to the finale, but I've got some theories. I've got some theories on how they might do things going forward.
I feel okay with it. I will say, just from a story perspective, I'm very glad that they didn't make Omega a Jedi.
Yeah.
Very glad. Because, I mean, I expressed it whenever that first episode came out. I mean, I really didn't like that idea. Only being because I feel like Star Wars recently, it's like everyone has to be a Jedi and like a secret Jedi. And it's also kind of, too, like a point that Mac has made many times is like, we've seen that so many times. Like, can someone just not be a Jedi for once, please?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't do that, because I think I would have been disappointed, because I would have viewed that as a cheap shot, a cheap way to end the series.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have liked that. Yeah.
But if a clone can be a Jedi, it does open the door to Starkiller.
Yeah.
Or at least a version of Starkiller.
Yeah, well, and maybe her blood is what makes that a possibility.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Because they do have her blood. I mean, that's canon. I mean, the Empire has Omega's blood. Whether she lives or not, I mean, they still have enough to make clones. So
Now, question. Let's say she needs surgery, and they need to like give her somebody else's blood, a blood transfusion. Sorry, I couldn't think what the name was called for a second. Mm-hmm. If it was a Jedi, could she then become a Jedi if she gets a Jedi's blood?
Right? That was my question too. Like, if her blood is a good binder for transferring midichlorian count, if she did, take blood from a Jedi, would she take their well, see, that's the weird thing too. Like, with midichlorians, you have like more people. It's not that you have more or less than somebody, right? It's just that you're more like susceptible or whatever. I can't ever remember.
Well, in Phantom Menace, they actually like talk about that a little bit, and it is a number, because
it's a number.
Yeah, Qui-Gon tests Anakin, and Obi-Wan says something about it being
he's got the highest.
Almost as high as
I think
Yoda.
it's midichlorian count per blood cell. So Anakin's number, I think, was 20,000, but I think that's 20,000 per blood cell, which puts him in a just stupid, ridiculous number. But I could be remembering that wrong.
No, his is super high, because they say
it's
in
the
Phantom
highest.
Menace, Obi-Wan says it. Yeah, he's like, I don't even think Master Yoda's is this high.
Right.
And so everybody has a midichlorian count already.
Right.
Yeah, Force sensitive and not.
Yeah,
just
everybody
have.
has one. But yours could be lower or higher depending on who you are and all that stuff. So if she gets a blood transfer from a Jedi, does her midichlorian count rise? Or does her current count just like get a boost?
I would say alternatively too, is the midichlorian count kind of like a fingerprint or a snowflake where it's actually unique to the individual and it doesn't transfer? Like, it all has to do with the Force's will, and it's like a spiritual thing. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that could be interesting. Like, maybe the binding, like, technically the midichlorians go over, but the Force could still reject it, saying it's not the original host.
Either way, somehow Palpatine returned.
Either way. I I think technically it would work, and she could become a Jedi that way, but that just feels like so technical and like sterile. I don't know if I would like it personally.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, how would that even happen, considering that so many of the Jedi are dead?
Right.
Like, what are the chances that they would find one
Yeah, so
to give her a blood transfusion?
my best guess would be the Rebels crew.
But
Good
would
old
they
Phoenix
experiment?
Squadron.
Would they experiment on her like that? I don't know if they'd do that.
I don't think it would be an experiment. I think it would be like she's dying, we need to do this to save her.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they just use anybody?
Blood type?
But just because a Jedi, well, because everyone, like we said, everyone has a midichlorian count, so why couldn't anyone's blood work?
They have to share a blood type.
On Earth, in this reality, yeah.
True, that is true. Maybe it works different in Star Wars.
You're metagaming.
Maybe they have to be humans.
That's possible too. I don't know. Or what if it's only clones? That would suck.
Yeah.
If she needed blood transfusion
Get
later.
some good old Rex, old crusty Rex blood.
Well, I mean, they'd all be the same blood type.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, also, another confusing thing as well is I thought that the midichlorian thing with Omega, like that was her mutation. Like, since she's, one of the Bad Batch, they were created, like, pretty close to the same time. And she was
I've
also
never
created
thought
to
of
be
that.
created to be different. Like, that this was her mutation. Like, this is just what happened.
That's
an
what I thought
interesting
as
theory.
well.
That's never crossed my mind.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I'm more tempted to think that way. That actually, like, most clones don't have a high M count. It's just like Omega is the odd one. Because also in this show too, they did test a bunch of clones.
Right.
So I don't know.
Now that would make sense why she is so important, and it makes sense why she was always with Nala Se for like ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because maybe Nala Se picked that up, like, say, in utero or something, whenever she was in the test tube. Maybe she was like, oh, crap, she has a high M count. I'm going to keep that a secret.
Yeah,
we don't really know a lot.
Knew.
Yeah, we don't really know a lot about the Kaminoans and how all their stuff works.
Right.
That could have been like a deliberate science project that she did.
Yeah,
Like,
she could have done it on purpose.
She
yeah.
made it with like her to have that ability to hold an M count, like either on accident or they somehow unlocked how to do that, and it only worked on her. I don't know.
And we know they didn't trust the Republic or the Jedi, so maybe
Right.
she did that as a, it's kind of like how Batman has a plan to kill the entire
Take out
Justice
everyone.
League. Maybe it's kind of the same thing where it's like, well, if the Republic and the Jedi do turn on us,
We'll
I
just
wanna
turn
have
all
some
our
security.
clones force sensitive and make an army of Jedi clones.
I don't know, man.
it could be
maybe.
an option. What do you think
Yeah.
99's mutation was?
Being a
Unfortunate.
real cool guy.
and heroism.
Hey, guys. Sorry,
Yeah.
talking about 99. Here's my pitch. Tales of the Clones. The Bad Batch.
That'd be
Episode
pretty cool.
1. The Bad Batch are kids. They're training. They're looking up to 99. He's their older brother. Episode 2. The Battle of Camino. It ends with them finding out he's dead. Episode 3. Their first mission. And declaring themselves as Clone Force 99. Tell me that's not a great idea.
That
Tell
sounds
me you wouldn't
incredibly
cry.
sad, but would make a lot of money, yeah.
I would cry so hard.
And I'd watch it all the time.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been thinking about that almost nonstop since Tales of the Empire came out.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick, honestly.
Dave Filoni, hire us, please.
Pretty sick.
Well, since we're just talking about things, has anybody seen Acolyte yet?
Nope.
Not yet. I watched a little bit of the first episode.
Oh, I thought you were staying strong, Elijah. I was going to be surprised.
I watched like the first 5 minutes, and I didn't. I was actually telling Mac about this. I turned it on while I was doing cardio at the gym, but then my machine, like, something happened. It reset my timer, and I, instead of just like continuing on, I just got annoyed and went to weightlifting instead.
Fair enough.
So I'm really excited to watch it. I think this is one I'm gonna binge, or at least wait to watch till we do our episodes on. What about
Yeah.
you, Mac?
No, I haven't watched it at all. I've been seeing like all the different opinions on it. All of like the really big
too.
like Star Wars like YouTubers and everything. Like guys that have been around for a while. They're all like, I wouldn't say boycotting Disney Star Wars, but they're like
They're
right on
pissed,
the edge.
yeah. What I'll say
Well,
about that is, sorry, I've been keeping up with a lot of their complaints. I won't spoil anything here, but I honestly think a lot of their complaints are kind of stupid, if I'm just being completely honest. But we can get deeper into that when we actually review The Acolyte. Sorry, what were you going to say, Tucker?
Well, that was one thing I was going to mention, because I do remember when Obi-Wan Kenobi came out, it was kind of the same deal. Like, Rotten Tomatoes or whatever rated it high, but a lot of Star Wars fans hated it and continued to.
Right.
And so I don't know if I should feel that way about The Acolyte right now, having not seen it. Like, just be like, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad. Or maybe they do, like, maybe there is some founding there. I mean, since I try to really hard to stay off spoilers and I don't even really watch trailers and stuff like that, I haven't been seeing a lot. And if I have, I've tried really hard to just ignore it. But I think time will tell. I don't know. I do fully intend to do what we're good at, and that is be honest and be critical.
For sure.
I don't know. Some of the interviews I've seen with some of the people that are in the show, like, even I know you try to stay away from it, but I think by this point everyone's seen the interview with the one guy, and he is like, you can tell it's not just a slip up like how we do sometimes, you know, where you call one of the clones Tech or Rex or Hunter or Crosshair and you're talking about the other one or whatever. Like, this dude went on a whole tangent about Anakin Skywalker blowing up the Death Star.
It was pretty rough, yeah.
And it wasn't just like, oh, he said Anakin instead of Luke. Like, no, this man genuinely
Thought it was Anakin, yeah.
thought it was Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Because he says Anakin a few times.
Also, too, though, I mean, for any story, are actors required to know the full lore?
Yes, and
I
think you
don't
should.
really think.
I think if you're going to do a project, you
but,
should.
I mean,
not like, I'm not saying that everybody that gets put in a Star Wars show should go out and watch all of the films, read all of the books, and this, that, and the other. But you best believe, dude, if I was in a Star Wars show and I got interviewed and they said, like, who's your favorite character? And I answered that question, or I don't even know what the question was in the interview. And then I just went off about how Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star and everything, and just kept going.
Yeah, but also, like, what about right now if you were in the show Bridgerton?
I've never seen that show.
Are you telling me that you'd watch, like, everything before that and make sure that you knew all the lore on it and who the characters are?
I think you should definitely
would you just learn
yourself.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, just playing devil's advocate, like, would you know everything, or would you honestly just learn your lines and do your job and go home? But on the other side of that, though, is that I do think, I mean, you have a point in that, like, no matter what you're in, you better be ready to have an interview.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is kind of a double-edged sword.
Well, I mean, think of like Rebels. Like, even though Rebels was like a way smaller scale show, you think about the Freddie Prinze Jr. interview that got really famous.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like,
I remember that.
Everybody thought he was like really upset or angry, and he wasn't. He was just being passionate. And he talks about the Force and everything, and like explains it. And he's like, everybody gets so hung up on this. And he's like, it's really simple. I sat down with Dave, who sat down with George, who had George explain it to him. And that's how it works. The guy literally created the show.
Yeah.
This is how it works. Whatever you think, I mean, yeah, everything's open to interpretation. You're allowed to make your own little fantasy world within this fake show. But
Well, it's all fiction, yeah.
Yeah, it's all fiction, but like bare bones, if you're looking at it, this is how it works. This is how the guy said it worked.
Right. Yeah, but I also think too that you have to, I mean, to your point as well, I think that as an actor you have somewhat of a responsibility that in an interview you should at least know like what the spirit of what you're representing is.
Yeah. So I agree with Tucker that an actor shouldn't be required to know everything. And I think they can do an amazing job without knowing everything. But I also do believe there's a big quality difference between actors that understand the lore and actors that don't. Like, let's talk about Kenobi for a second. Hayden Christensen, he got pulled in to play Darth Vader again. He went and watched all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels, Rogue One, and pretty much anything else that I can't think of that had Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker in it to make sure that he was caught up with the character. And he did a phenomenal job. In contrast, the actors that played the Grand Inquisitor and the Fifth Brother refused to watch Rebels because they didn't want to be influenced by that show. They did okay. I don't think they did awful, but like,
you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell when somebody really cares and when somebody's just doing it because they like to act, which is still valid. It's just not the same level of
100%.
quality.
It's all very interesting.
The Freddie Prinze Jr. interview, though, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that interview. I thought he was kind of a dick in that interview. He says a lot of really valid stuff, but he also he does that whole like if you don't like the sequel trilogy, you're sexist. Like he literally says people are just mad because Han Solo gave the Millennium Falcon to a girl. And it's like, no, we have valid criticisms of the sequel trilogy, and we should be allowed to talk about that, and we shouldn't be labeled sexist just because we didn't like some movies.
Yeah, but that interview came out a while back, and at that
That is
time,
true.
it was that 1% of fans that were just like, "Why is girl flying Millennium Falcon?"
There was a very vocal minority that hated Rey because she was a girl. They hated Finn because he was black. And we should talk about them, but we shouldn't lump all Star Wars fans who didn't like the sequel trilogy into that group.
And that's why, actually, that's a great point, Elijah, because that's actually why I'm cautious about the Acolyte, in that, like, I'm cautious toward the reviews, I should say, not the show.
Yeah.
And that's because I do remember with Kenobi, people really hated Reva.
Yeah. There was a section of the community that was super racist.
Like, other than thinking that those complaints are probably a little racist or sexist, don't really know, don't really care, think it's messed up either way, I can't really, I just don't really understand what else they would be coming from as far as not liking her. Because really, I mean, I thought she did a good job. She's a good part of the story. She's interesting. Like, don't really see what was wrong with it. And like Kenobi, just in general, I don't really think most of the critiques of that show were that valid.
Yeah,
even though they were
agree.
loud, even though I heard them all the time.
Yeah,
and still hear them sometimes. But I just don't agree. I think they're wrong. And so
I
with
really
the Acolyte,
like
I'm very
Reva.
curious to see how I feel about it. But I'm trying to approach it and just be fair and just see what I think. Yeah.
I think it's our duty as like Star Wars fans to call out that vocal minority that's really racist and sexist and not really like give them a safe space, or, at least we should talk to them and explain like, hey, this isn't great. But again, I just think lumping all Star Wars fan into that community or that small group is not great.
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, I think, one of the big pillars of the show that we all stand on is, I mean, I can guarantee that none of our Star Wars content will ever be based on race, sex, religion, anything like that. Because also, too, like, not only is that messed up and not the right way to be thinking, but also, too, we all acknowledge that it's a fictional world and that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah. Ayla Secure is blue. Like, what do you hate blue people? Like, that's stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, all the blue people, like, that's ridiculous. This is a fictional story.
The Blue Man Group.
Anyway. Sorry, something about that Freddie what is his name? Freddie Prinze Jr. interview. It gets to me a little bit.
There is a cockiness to it that I'm not a big fan of either, but
Yeah. But
Yeah.
he does make some really valid points.
Well, it's just funny because even George Lucas has had a recent. Have you guys seen George's like recent interview? I don't know where he was. He was like on a panel or something. Like he's
Where he's
sitting on
talking
a
about-
stage talking.
How the women in Star Wars are the heroes.
Yeah, he.
Hell yeah.
For some reason, this happens like every couple of years, and it's become more prevalent. Maybe, or maybe it's just because we grew up and we had more access to like media and everything, and we were a little bit interested in media. But it feels like ever since he sold the company to Disney, every couple years, and it's usually whenever a really hyped up project comes out, George Lucas comes under fire for being like racist, or not racist, but like super sexist in that like there's even been like claims of like semi-racism in Star Wars with like all his original stuff and everything. And it's the weirdest thing, but it's every couple of years it happens. That people just decide to go after George Lucas for whatever reason.
and they're aliens. They're fictional aliens. Like, what
that's
does it
what he
even
says.
matter? Yeah.
Yeah, in this most recent interview, he was like, I made one of the main heroes a woman. She's leading the rebellion. She saves Luke and Han multiple times because they can't figure out anything. Either that or Han's so wrapped up in his ego that he can't figure out. And Luke is just growing up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Luke and Leia are the same age, but Luke grew up way differently than Leia did. I mean, she was a royal. She grew up in a court setting and that sort of thing. Luke was just a farm boy who just didn't want to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
He's never had to think about war or anything. And we know with Rebels that, like, by that point, Leia was already going on, like, mercy missions and, you know, helping start the rebellion and everything. And he's like, everybody's either an alien or a human. Like, there's no real race in Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, and also to that point too, with Leia being a woman, like let's also think about what was going on in the United States in 1977. Like it's not that the world was horrible back then, but it's just people, especially in this country, had very different views. I mean, like if you think about it, in the year 1977, women just for the first time started wearing pants to work instead of dresses. I mean, isn't that I mean, like, you know, so for George Lucas to be making a statement about that, that's incredibly women's rights minded.
Yeah, very progressive.
Like for the time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing sexist about him, because if he was, Princess Leia wouldn't be in the movie.
Right. And even in Phantom Menace, 14-year-old Padme was the one who came up with the plan to save her people. And, like, when they were actually attacking the capital of Naboo, she was leading the charge.
Yeah, she leads the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so could it also be that this is just a fictional story written by a smart man with good characters?
Right?
No.
Isn't that a possibility?
Anyway.
It has to be that we hate women.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys hate women with your two wives that you love so much.
The only other point that I will say is that I agree with you, Tuck. I don't think everybody should have to like read the whole lore of whatever their project they're working on. Mm-hmm. But if you do have that one guy or girl, whatever, that does that, like the one that I can think of is was it whenever Henry Cavill was on Witcher?
Anything he does, he's hardcore, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what story I'm talking about, right, Elijah? Like they were trying to do something or whatnot, and he was like, "Hey, this isn't how it happened." Like,
yeah, he was constantly
everything
fighting.
we're basing this off of. You can't do this in this scene because in the book, Geralt can't do this, or Geralt can't do that, or Geralt would do this, or he's already interacted with one of these monsters, and this is actually how you take care of it. And for the most part, I think they were like super supportive of him.
Yeah. For the most part, I know there was a lot of arguments, but he fought for The Witcher to be what it was, you know, and it still wasn't perfect, but a lot of the reason it had so much success was because he fought for it. And another great example to pull it back to Star Wars is, I always say his name wrong, Sam, I always want to say Sam Witwicky,
Sam Witwer.
What? Yeah,
Whitwer, yeah.
Wiki.
Dude, this guy loves Star Wars so much, and he crushes it. Everything he does, even if it's just a random background character, does a fantastic job. You know, when the passion's there, the content is good.
Like him sneaking in the Sith code whenever Maul comes back.
Yep.
The first time, he sneaks in the Jedi or the Sith code to make it canon.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And even little things like the interview where I don't know if it's him, but I think it's somebody talking about him, about how he corrects Dave because Dave wanted to do a scene where Anakin talks to Padme and tells her how much
he has a vision.
Yeah, how much Padme would have loved his mom and how much his mom would have loved her. And then Sam's the one that steps up and says, but they did get to meet. They met in episode 2.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, passion matters, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
Especially with how big Star Wars is now.
Oh, and how big it's always been. I mean, it's always, I mean, pretty much since its existence, it's been a worldwide deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's
it
been
just
massive.
just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Have you guys been watching, playing, reading any other Star Wars related material?
No, the most recent thing I've done is I'm on the 3rd Thrawn book of the new Thrawn series.
Nice. Still enjoying it?
Yeah, I listened to it for a couple hours whenever I saw my parents the other weekend.
Nice.
But that's about it.
Dookie?
Well, I have some news. I have finally finished Jedi Survivor.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Was it amazing?
It was pretty good.
Hell yeah.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. I miss like having a game to play by myself after it. It was fun.
Hell yeah.
And I liked the story. The story was actually my favorite part.
Same.
Thought they did a wonderful job. And yeah, no, I do miss it a little bit. I need to get back into reading, but I haven't been reading the past couple of weeks. So I've been watching, other stuff. Just Star Wars really hasn't been at the forefront at the moment, but we'll get into it. It's still Star Wars season, so I'm sure whenever we get to Acolyte, I'll probably hit that pretty hard. But for now, I'm just kind of
Outlaws is coming.
Outlaws in 2 months.
Outlaws. I am excited for, but frankly, I'm not really sure I want to pay what they want for it.
Yeah, I'll
I
probably
think the
get
cheapest version is like
$70,
$80.
maybe.
Yeah,
80,
and
yeah.
I don't really think that's worth it to me.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. They just put out gameplay like the other day. Like it's everywhere now on like TikTok and everything. It pops up all the time for me. And the gameplay is looking pretty fluid. Have you seen it, Elijah?
Yeah. I will say I've got some critiques on the like takedown animations. I think those definitely need some touching up, but that's not like a huge deal.
With the takedowns and everything, there's that one where she sneaks up behind the stormtrooper. She uses Nyx to distract him.
She grabs
then-
the helmet.
What?
Are you talking about the one where she like puts her hands on the helmet and then the guy just dies?
Oh, I don't know. To me, it looked like she did like a hammer punch to the side of his head or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're talking about different ones then.
And I was like, one, she's using her bare hands. And we know that the stormtrooper armor isn't the great, right?
Right.
But it's still like a heavy plastic. Like you're not just going to come up and hit somebody in the helmet and knock them out with your bare hands. Like one, that's going to hurt your hands really bad. Two, there's no way she's causing enough blunt trauma to knock this man out.
Well, and also too, like, I mean, stormtrooper armor's certainly harder than this, but like, think about hitting someone as hard as you can and they're wearing like a construction helmet.
Yeah.
Like even that, they probably wouldn't even get knocked out. And construction helmets aren't even that hard, like compared to stormtrooper armor.
No, my complaints are more like there's one where she punches a guy in the face and like very clearly her fist doesn't actually hit him. Or like I said, there's one where she sneaks up behind a guy, puts her hand literally just like softly on the side of his helmet and then like pulls him down to the ground.
Oh, it's like the Vulcan choke thing.
But
where
I think
it's like you're just putting your hand on his shoulder. Why is he getting knocked out right now?
it's supposed to be an animation where she breaks his neck, but I just don't think they finished the actual animation.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
The only game to ever do like hand-to-hand combat the cleanest, in my opinion, was the Arkham series, the Batman Arkham games.
I haven't played it, but I've heard amazing things.
That is like the most fluid combat, like hand-to-hand combat that I've ever had. Before that, I think the most fluid thing we had was like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Which I just want to clarify, like, we're talking about the takedowns and stuff and how we're not the biggest fans of them right now, but like that's such a minor thing. Like the game's gonna be so good. Yeah.
It's still a test play. We're not all the way done with the game yet. They released some gameplay footage. The game's not done yet. It'll have bugs whenever it comes out too.
Yeah. Something I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, 100%. I really want to. That game's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Tucker, sorry, what were you?
No, I am very excited for it.
Yeah, just might be one you grab on sale.
I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, you guys know me, man. Like, if you guys get it and like it, I'll pay the stupid $80 for it. But
we can't even play it together.
I know, I'm still gonna be mad about it. I'm still gonna complain, but
oh, that reminds me though. It looks like we did kind of get an answer for how the air to ground is kind of gonna work. Did you see that part of it, Elijah?
Yeah, it's gonna be a loading screen, but instead of like a loading actual screen, we'll get an animation of her flying down to the planet. We just won't be able to like control the ship, which I think is a good compromise.
It kind of looked like they were. It looked like it was kind of like a No Man's Sky thing where you're like outside the planet and then you speed towards the atmosphere and then like eventually
so
you do get a loading screen.
That does happen where you speed towards the planet and you land. It's just you don't actually control that. It just turns into a video of it landing. Which I think is a good
totally
compromise.
Hate that. Yeah, I think that's okay.
It's not going to ruin the immersion at all.
Yeah, I think it would have been more fun if it was like No Man's Sky where you could actually like control where you're going. I think that'd be kind of cool, but
yeah, you click on a planet and you get like three. The one it showed had 3 options, but I'm assuming depending on the planet there'll be more or less. Then you pick where you want to land, and then it puts you into a video of you landing.
Yeah, see, I was really hoping it wouldn't be like that, because then I was hoping you could do, like
free exploration.
Not just that, but, say you really make somebody, one of the Hutt factions mad. And you land on this planet and all of a sudden you discover that whoever's people that you pissed off are waiting for you there. So you quickly decide, okay, I don't want to fight all these people. You jump back into your ship and you're like, all right, I got to make a break for hyperspace, go to a different system for a little bit until this cools down. And you would have, like the Pike clan getting their ships and like try to take you down before you reach into orbit and get to hyperspace and stuff, and kind of like have to fight your way off the planet and then into the air where you could meet their like heavier class ships, and then you have to fight those if you really want to jump, or maybe you decide, okay, screw it, I'll head back down to the surface. Which
there will be space combat and stuff, so I'm sure there'll be something similar, like you'll get to out into space and have to fight your way out before you can hyper jump. But yeah, it would be cool if it was that, like, fully in-depth.
It would be kind of neat if it was, on that note, if it was almost like a Grand Theft Auto star system. Where it was like, you do some stuff and you get, like, 2 stars and you get out of there and they send some lighter ships. But on, like, 5 stars, they send their heavier ships.
Well, boy, do I have news for you, Tuck.
Is it going to be like that?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be kind of cool.
Well, you have that with every faction, and then you also have it, like, the Empire has its own wanted level, too.
That'd be kind of neat. I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be phenomenal. Well, boys, that was all for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. Question of the week will be just what you thought of The Bad Batch, Season 3, Episode 12, Juggernaut. And if you could leave us a review, that'd be awesome. And guys, we did it. We had an episode where we stayed on topic most of the time. We pretty much talked about Star Wars the whole time. I told you, audience members, we'd make our way back to it.
We got close. We got close.
I can't be caged.
For the Animal Squadron, this has been MotherGoose.
Lowtech Tuck.
And HouseDog. I'm awake
Bye,
now,
everybody.
so you can't bully me.
Adios.
You're stinky.
You're stinky. I hate you.